determined inside.
You can't run.
Yeah.
They come through.
Yeah.
And instead of their laughing.
I wish people had been around the 80s because my football coach took that to the hill. I mean, I don't know how many stride laps we did from fumbling a football or two. But yeah, we just have it cannot be done in an academic setting with that. So yeah. So there's all those. Gets over to special ed process for student expulsion over about halfway through. And 4890 is a removal of students from school-sponsored activities. That includes dances and all that stuff. If they violate certain codes, we are able to prohibit them from any of those activities that occur after school or during school that I don't want to say they're obligated to attend, but it's a privilege to attend on behalf of the school. So let's say we have pep rallies, we have some students that misbehave and they don't know how to behave. We can bring them, let them sit over in the office during that pep rally next time we have one. We don't have to let them attend. And things like that. Or field trips. They misbehave on the field trip. We don't have to allow them the possibility of going to a field trip, but they don't follow our expectation behaviors at that time. So, and that's up to the principal with consultation of the superintendent to confirm they're in compliance. So, student wellness. This is student wellness policy we have to follow. That's put in place by the Obama administration. Talk about nutrition guidelines, nutrition education, which we do during our health classes. And in elementary, we do it through science and other means. And those types of things. The physical activity requirements that we are to have for PE and like that during the school. Other school-based activities that we can do that promote healthy using and physical activity, like recess and those types of things, evaluation, parent, staff, community involvement, those types of things.
Sorry, I know I brought this up with
Yeah.
prior board meeting, we were going over some related. So as far as nutrition
Yes.
guidelines, all foods available in each school during the day will have primary goal promotion to reduction of child obesity.
Yeah.
So how are things going in the cafeteria real quick?
They're better, but still, we're still doing a whole bunch of prepackaged food because the problem that happened at the beginning of the year is we tried to do New Mexico Grow, but it wasn't ready to launch with all 89 school districts in the state. So getting that access to our orders has been difficult. The other part of our contracts, and Nicole will kind of tell you this, is they can change those orders at any given time. That's happened to us. We may plan out a menu and then they don't ship the right stuff.
Yeah, because they
they don't have it available. So we run into that quite a bit. So our menus change. I can tell you this, there is a summit for superintendents and food service directors that will occur in June to look at how we might be able to address this, because what PED's answer was last year was you grow it on your campus and do it. But we don't have the capacity to grow it up here because A, our water's too hard. It might kill some of those things that are on there. And B, we may not have the soil composition, and you're asking our kids to grow food for 100 kids, but yet we're not in session during June, July, until the start of August. So how are we going to maintain those gardens through the summer if they can't come on campus? So we're going to have a summit, I believe it's in June, that we're going to talk about these policies, but I've also talked to a couple other districts about us possibly partnering and do some creative things to address that local grown issue. Carrizozo, us, Vaughn, and Capitan all been in a conversation about how to improve that. We're not sure how we're going to address it because if it's not funded, we're going to have to look at a way to do it. We're in a better position, us and Vaughn are in a better position than the other two because of our windmill money. We want to use some of that to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. Yeah.
All those condemned
Yeah.
greenhouses now.
Yeah.
Oh, such a bad situation.
You think we can get something cheap?
No. But I can tell you this, one of the conversations I had with Ian as we go into the phase, one of the things Monica would love to see in her science and STEAM program would be a greenhouse. So when they do the hydrology, or they do the hydroponics, or they do the ecology part of it, they can actually grow inside that greenhouse. We could help support something, but yeah.
Not funny.
Yeah.
Because there was one around the corner of the.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm so sorry that I keep pounding on this. I just know when I talked to some of the schools, I was curious how I knew what their menus were. And they knew when the audit was coming.
Yeah.
And so they knew when to be ready for that audit. Otherwise, whatever, they'd go to Sam's and get,
Yeah,
pork loins and, I mean, and they would keep these things and do shredded pork, sandwiches one day, pork roast another day. I mean, they spread all that out.
So, I'm just not sure why we can't order mostly just ingredients.
Right.
And make food,
Yes.
like from a lot even,
Right.
why not?
Right.
I just don't know
They used
why
to.
that isn't happening.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen our previous menus, and I've seen a lot more eggs on the breakfast, for
Okay.
example.
That's good.
I want
No, I mean in the past.
Oh,
In the
okay.
past. It's not now, no, there's cereal and fruit bars and.
So did Amy Romero, that I don't know, do you know?
I know who she is.
Okay, that just let
Yeah.
you. Good job with that. She did a really good job. Everything was pretty much from scratch. And that.
And it bugged her. At the days that she had to, it's been the electricity.
And then like
Yeah.
when
She
Jenna
felt like it was
McKibben
wrong.
and all of those ladies, they did homemade rolls. I mean,
It was,
In our cafeteria redesign, I have the designer that came in and did the walkthrough, which is why I told him to change the hood, is looking at that type of equipment that will make it easier for us to do. And part of it is we definitely, things have improved with Janice coming on board. So we still need to look at that and look at part of it is our lunch schedules and the way our breakfast, we went to, because of our rapid growth, we addressed it this year by having an extra breakfast and extra lunch period.
Well,
Because of getting them through. I'm not sure if it would be a great idea if we would just rotate them through and do, when high school gets here first thing in the morning. Let's say we set that at 7:45 or 7:50, they go to cafeteria and they bring it down here, or they eat up there, then we take the elementary at 8:15. We've already ran a period here, but I know Amanda's been looking at some alternative schedules of what we can do. But our capacity up there was 60 in the lunchroom. So we couldn't put everybody in there at one time, so we had to do something. And we had 67 at one time in the elementary, so we even had to stagger on the Tuesdays and Thursdays, we kind of got to stagger. We got just the pre-K's got to do it. So we got to look at that routine and see what you can do and do that. And do we look at adding an extra cafeteria person to do that with the numbers to do that? Because there's really, when they're done cleaning up for breakfast at 9:15, our first crew's coming in at 10:55.
and I mean, and I'm sorry, but I cook, I don't buy many prepared
Yeah.
foods. It's not difficult to plan and be able to do, even in the masses, when I've had to cook for lots of people. It's, once you get your process in place.
Yeah.
And you know what you're gonna do and you plan it, you're gonna do a pork loin here, whatever's
Yeah.
left over, you do pulled pork sandwiches the next day, or, maybe you skip a day in between and sub sandwiches, my gosh, that's
Yeah.
not difficult and
Yeah.
that's healthy. I'm just saying,
we might,
I like your idea.
The meat sandwiches, there's one paper thin.
but they're packaged.
They're packaged.
They're packaged.
Yeah,
Yes, they're.
yeah. And there doesn't says we can't go over the standard.
You
Yeah.
can't just,
Yeah,
And
gotta make it from scratch.
you said we might have to hire another employer or employee
Yeah.
and give them some more hours.
yeah,
Because let those ladies that are cooking breakfast come in
Yeah.
earlier. While they've gotten breakfast cooked and is serving it, maybe that other person or two of them take one to serve and get a kid to help them.
yeah. But you talked to Moriarty Edmund, I talked to.
Have them other two start on the lunch, I mean, there's
Some of the
there's
things
gotta be a way.
some of the things they have done to do this, and we might want to look at this, is they actually hired a maintenance person / truck driver to go pick up orders at Sam's Club and like that on certain days like that. That might be something that we look at, because I know we constantly are having issues with outside grounds and trying to maintain these buildings. Do we hire that type of position, which we probably will have the money next year because of our rapid growth to look at it. And I'm running all kinds of scenarios with that and trying to find the right person that could do that. But we can't have the order big enough that takes it outside either a pickup truck or outside the Suburban, because we don't have a box truck like Edgewood has, Moriarty
Yeah,
Edgewood
you
has.
wouldn't be picking
But
up.
we would be picking up those large enough quantities, so we'd have to figure out what those quantities would be. And either make an arrangement, because the other thing is, there were shortages of actual meats this year. When you would order chicken, 90% of the time you would get pork in place of it. because there's a chicken shortage and all that stuff. And Sodexo and the food service providers in this state weren't shipping the right orders, which I can't blame the ladies on, but also at the same time, they should notify us of the changes, which they never do. And we constantly argue with them that we have the option inside the contract to do it. And we're just gonna have to start looking at other food service providers.
They're all the same.
They're pretty much all the same as they go.
Gonna be
Yeah.
Your other
Yeah.
option, because
Yeah.
that's what some of the other schools did.
Yeah.
They had sent someone to Costco and Sam's on a regular basis, and they got their stuff and they did whatever the heck they wanted until they knew their audit was coming.
Right.
If you hire a third person up there,
Yeah.
all the other two are cleaning right after lunch, they
Yeah.
can leave and take off once a week if they needed to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of things, so.
Yeah.
Time out, let's get back to this.
Okay, sorry, we can look at that.
Thank you.
No problem. And then 4961 student wellness program that we all have to have adopted. And we have to submit our student wellness plan as part of our safety plan.
That we're not publishing.
Yeah, that we're not publishing, correct. And then the regulations for it, J5000 student insurance programs. Student health benefit insurance programs for district, we do that for athletics. So they're covered. And we're also covered under NIPSIA in case something should happen in school, as part of our insurance. Student health service and requirements. Casey does a very good job of making sure we stay in line with this, and we do it. And this also helps with student health-based centers, that it sets the basic standards we do. So we send our kids down for physical or whatever down at our community health center. It allows us to do those types of things in agreement, and also allows for limited treatment in schools. One thing I will suggest as we go forward with the building project, as was pointed out by Ian, student health centers and law enforcement centers are big sells for PSFA. So when we go to the planning phase, we might want to look at partnering with the village and bring the community health center for a modern facility up here, possibly. Or if we can partner with them and allow them to have access to our nurses office like that, do a partnership agreement with that, and possibly look at putting a law enforcement station on this campus. Because that might sell PSFA on giving us more money.
We'd have better luck with the
Yeah,
police than,
Yeah.
I think they're pretty happy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty water.
Provider, but we have.
Yeah, that's a Presbyterian deal,
Yeah.
it might be hard.
yeah.
My only concern putting it under the government is, are they gonna impose?
We can create the facilities and we negotiate the agreement, Elena. I mean, it'll be up to us, but it's worthwhile. We would just
Yeah.
have the nicest nurses office in the state, possibly. Just saying.
Let Casey decide.
But we can go from there. Physical examinations for students are required, and then July 2021, they passed the dental examination requirements we have to do. Which is usually done through our community center, or if they ever have a dentist available, we call it out. Which they never seem to have one, but we make sure we publicize that. Vision screenings that are required, policy for that. 5185 school-based health clinics just says what's required. Services may not include reproductive services. The school-based health clinic may provide medical and mental health services. Casey and I have been talking to a couple of virtual mental health providers, because sometimes with us, we have an immediate need instead of trying to get REC 9 up here. So we've talked to a couple of providers and working on some grants for that. And when she's here tomorrow, I got to touch base with her and see what we can set up our next grant meeting with the crew we're working with, see what can happen. So we're looking at that. 5,200 immunization records that are required. 5211 is the regulation that we can send home to parents if they have a question. 5250, which is the communicable infectious disease part, and requires the certain, I don't want to say diseases, but the conditions that were required to report to the health department is what this covers. Like the measles outbreak that's going on. We'd have to require, we have so many students meet that. Like, I think for New Mexico, I think it's 15%. I've never had to use it in 8 years. Knock on wood that it doesn't happen. But there's certain percentages inside that once we get reached student population, I report to the health department. J5300 acquired immune deficiency syndrome and human immunodeficiency virus infections, about how schools should handle them and be able to train staff, make sure to handle those situations properly. Administering medications to students. We are required to receive parent notification. There are certain drugs and or prescriptions that we may want to require to have parents administer. Like, for example, if a student is assigned a painkiller after a dental surgery, it's in the same classification of the medical marijuana and those types of things. We have the right to district determine what drugs we will dispense and what ones we will not. So medical cannabis is what I know was a big issue 3 years ago. Local board can do that, and about 85% of the district across the state, if they were going to do that and have a doctor's prescription for their student, the parents had to administer it off school ground, not on school ground, as long as you have a policy. I'll get into medical cannabis a little bit later because there's a policy specifically for that they do, and I may just pull it out and we can talk about it like now. Like if you go to perfect 5361, administration by school personnel. The issue with prescription drugs and medical cannabis is you have to train additional staff over and above your health staff. So we can look at it in our policy and procedures once we adopt this, that we adopt a procedure that will not allow our staff to administer those drugs unless it's a registered nurse. I haven't talked to Casey about this one yet because I wanted to get the feeling of the board before he did that, but we do have the right as a district to determine what we're going to dispense and not dispense. Now, there's a big difference between Tylenol for a headache at a basketball game and medical marijuana to deal with anxiety. So I think we have that.
That sounds like a whole other box of worms too.
Yeah.
IEPs and other things.
And all the safety and security things we have to put in. And I can tell you, when our board in Silver adopted this, Silver High School got hit 3 times trying to steal the stashes of medical marijuana in our secured room. We busted 2 of the same guy twice. So it shows you how smart he is. But I mean, there's a whole bunch of other safety and security issues that we may not know. If they know that we're able to dispense that, could it bring in a clientele to come in and hit our schools that we don't want to have hit?
Well,
Just saying.
it's a little different now,
Yeah.
with marijuana being so big.
Yeah.
Why would you take a chance of breaking into a school and
Mhm.
get it if you can just go drive over to Vaughn and buy, I mean, yeah, you
Yeah.
have to have the money, but.
Yeah. So 5381, request for giving medications. And then 5382 specifically for medical cannabis. So I will put a note on these on 5382
Revisit.
to revisit.
Hey, are we gonna make it?
I don't know.
We can make it. So, okay, 5400 medical care management. This gets into all the medical procedures. Do not resuscitate orders if they want to place it on place at school. 5500 is guidance and counseling we're required to do for the state. Also outlines in the regulations the requirements to be a school counselor and psychologist that we do. We contract that through REC 9. Also goes for our DAGs that do psychological services and those types of things. So we have that policy in place. Mandatory reporting of child abuse, 6250. It talks about who you're reported to, what you have to do. Mandatory reporters. Also gives us a suspected abuse neglect form that could be submitted by a staff member, which we may want to look, like I said, we're going to look at forms that we should do. J6400 is student safety. Use of restraint and seclusion training. We're required to do a CPI training that we do through REC 9. We get a lot of staff trained on that. We've actually talked to administrative staff. Should we have everybody trained so we get a break in our insurance? Because if we're over 75% of our staff trained, the MIPSIA will give you a break. So I've talked to REC 9 about possibly coming here doing a training, but they haven't been very receptive just to come do our business. Let's put it that way.
You can't drag us.
They don't want
down,
to-
Superintendent talks about. it.
Neither does anyone else.
You could, but I have to report as child abuse on the previous policy. But what we want to do is actually,
Used it, child.
actually what we're going to do is Amanda and Brandon and I have already talked about rotating it because unfortunately this year there were 2 times I was in Santa Fe when they had the training down there. So we gotta look at having males and females training. There aren't a whole lot of males on campus next year if Tony retires. It's me and 2 custodians. So we have to have males and females trained, so I automatically go get trained.
You think you're gonna hire a lady
We'll
ag
see.
teacher?
We'll see. I don't know what's gonna happen. We
Be
did
fine.
training. I had one in Hagerman. So, student safety, restraint seclusion policy, documentation we're required to keep. You can do that in logs that I've asked Dan Castile to provide. So 6432 is all about that. Supervision of students talks about what districts are required to do and supervising students on grounds and off grounds and underneath school activities. Student dismissal precautions. No student shall be removed from school grounds from any school building or from any school function during school hours except by a person authorized to do so by the student's parent, by a person. That's the pickup rule that they put in place a few years ago that we have to document, which is why we changed our pickup procedures this year to use the upper parking lot so we can verify that. And they have to be on the log in order to have it happen. So we make sure at the beginning of the year we contact all our parents with that when they fill out the form. Student unbound.
Except you don't give enough lines down there, to everybody that can pick up your kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always put Mrs. Dunlap's name down there.
Student outbound use and parking talks about student parking on campus, that we're not subject to damage of it that happens on our school grounds, but also could be susceptible to searches if need be. Underneath those policies, if there's suspicion that there could be criminal activity or other activity that
Okay.
violates school policies.
If they're parked on the street down here or in front of the gym, is that public or is that,
I can tell you what our attorney said.
it's not searchable?
It could be, but it'd be a gray area in court. But since it's been the history around here to use that for school parking, that is what we would argue. Yeah, if you're on this side of the street that borders our property historically, yes, that's considered student or staff parking. There's a way we can get around it. We can actually designate those areas as school parking zones and notify the village that our students may be parking there, and then it becomes our authority.
I know back
School days.
in the day when we had some smoking, you know,
Yeah.
they parked out there on the street and go out there and smoke in their car. You know,
Yeah,
okay,
that's the thing we gotta consider too, so. We don't want students out there smoking, Cody, just remember that. There you go. 6750, student volunteers and school community service, that we encourage the district for that to happen. Teachers and members of the community are encouraged to check with students, teachers, and principals for student assault for volunteer help. We do have the right to go out and do it, so if there's activities that we could do, one of the big ones is always when you send a choir or a band to a Memorial Day activity or something like that, that would occur. For us, Corona days, we have marching band marching through the parade. It'd be covered underneath that. Student donations and gifts. Students have been discouraged from collecting money, setting aside funds, or purchasing gifts for school or faculty members. Doesn't prohibit it, but they're discouraged. Gifts from groups of students to other students shall be limited on small expressions or condolences. We just don't want to get into the habit of having gift exchanges in classes that exceed large amounts. That's what this addresses. It's up to the school to set the discretion of those. Students' fees, fines, and charges. We just got to have it in place, even though we don't charge fees for most things. But this would allow us to do it. I can tell you one of the big things that's happening right now in the state legislature was to talk about how to fund dual enrollment in textbooks. In the past, we've covered it from our operational funds because it was required. Part of this year's budget is that expense be passed on to the parents, at least the textbooks. So there's some skin in the game to make sure they take it seriously because some of the areas are not happening. I'm not sure if that's going to be part of the budget. I have a feeling the governor's going to line item that part out. But I've talked to our higher ed institutions about how we might be able to implement some of those things to get them understanding or taking a college class and like that. So we've had conversations with Clovis and New Mexico Highlands. And I'm meeting with the Mexico Highlands next week during spring break. Talking to them on Thursday. It's the day they're doing their dual enrollment meeting with superintendent. So Thursday, I'll talk to them about dual enrollment to access theirs. Because they have a process that a student gets 1 warning, 2 warnings, and 3 warnings, they're no longer in dual enrollment. You've got to do things. So they have a warning process for them, for even high school students, they treat them like college students.
Like my nephew and,
Yeah.
Just my experience in the past, select, is
Yeah.
where you gonna make the parents buy the book outright, or is it gonna come from the school where the school buys the book and then they reimburse? It was terrible,
Yeah.
because that's how we first started doing it.
Yeah.
And collecting was onerous. I was
Western,
Guido.
that's a good question, Mark, because that's what I want to talk to New Mexico Highlands about.
Yeah, you have nothing.
Because New Mexico Highlands was the first district that actually had the students pay up front
Yeah.
when they did this. And they handled the collection. That's why I want to talk to them and see how they did this, because Clovis wants us to do the PO for all the books at one time to them. And some of those classes don't start at the same time. I mean, like, you can enroll in a Clovis class that's 8 weeks. That there are others that are 15 weeks, and it causes us a nightmare on whether that book's paid for or not. So I'm gonna talk to New Mexico Highlands and see what their policy was in doing it. Because they were having a tough time collecting fees from districts as well. They'd have all these books, they would build a district, and then a district would not pay them for those textbooks for a year.
Yeah, I think our income should
Yeah.
be set up on a schedule for those
Yeah.
people that have children and have dependents.
Yeah.
Based on their GPA, they should have to, a lower GPA has to pay a higher income tax. Just saying.
What?
That's what I think should happen. I'm sorry. Lots of red Shelton.
Because this could be one of those unforeseen circumstances by the legislature of putting on the parents, and then you're gonna wind up roaring because they don't want to pay those fees. Or be able to be in there. You're actually discouraging kids from trying to, from going to school. And we tried to bring it up to superintendents by then, but though there seems to be a large voice from the University of New Mexico, they're not collecting enough fees already for their operating.
So is it mandatory that we do that, or could we just use our WIN money to take, and keep going?
cause what did books cost us this year?
Depends on which, well, there's a $5,000 biology, $500 biology book that they had to do.
Well, yeah, I know.
So this year we didn't spend a whole lot
No.
because the math textbook is online.
Online.
Costs about $80. The.
They don't charge you for books at WT.
No, that's part of your.
Everything's online.
They're all online.
The
I would-
lump,
You have to stand and learn and look for the good used books at the bookstore.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing.
They provided one of them online, and we had to purchase the writer's handbook. We set up a Google or an Amazon account, like a generic one, and bought the writers, and they all access it through the Kindle.
the
The way the paper one.
The other part, higher ed institutions are going to that, where you pay a subscription for all the textbooks online, and you just go grab them.
But in the past,
Yeah.
and like you said, we've had some expensive ones, but we don't have, well, it's not like we have $2,500 books.
No,
We
no.
may only have 2.
Yeah, and we've participated in the past in it's called the TAP. brand.
Yeah.
And so it's discounted, and honestly, Clovis is terrible about sending an invoice.
Yeah,
Yeah, really paid for 2 years.
so,
Yeah.
so one of the things we did talk about is, because this doesn't impact us a lot. The only issue we run into is we're given money for dual enrollment for that as part of our SCG for students that enroll. We could use that for the supplies as opposed to the textbooks. We can take the textbooks out of whoever we want to, but the dual enrollment funds, because of what the lottery scholarship and the opportunity scholarship has done to higher ed, it's really created a nightmare for high schools, because we're still paying those fees, but the people up there are not. So they're trying to look at how to address that and make it fair. We have on the average, about 5 kids taking a dual enrollment class at the most, juniors and seniors.
It depends on the.
Depends on the fluctuation of our students, but we may have growth. You're looking at probably close to $4,000 a semester in textbooks at the most. If we would budget $5,000 out of windmill fund for each of that and put it in the student use fund, we can cover it. I mean, that's no biggie. I mean, we can look at doing that.
You can take it out of my salary.
You would probably spend whoever you tried.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was in
And-
Issues that creates.
And really, we haven't had that abuse. Like you said, it's us getting invoices back and close and paying it, then they do it after the fiscal year, like last year, I have to call them and tell them, we're not paying it because you didn't bill us in the right fiscal year.
Yeah. You don't have.
We don't have to. So
Oh, did that actually happen? They didn't get paid?
last year they did for spring semester. They did for fall because they billed us in like May, but they didn't bill us for spring until like July, July, August, or September.
Yeah.
All right, where are we at?
Okay.
Okay.
7050 student records and how to handle it with FERPA HIPAA confidentiality. FERPA HIPAA quadruple, so there's that, and also all the other things with that. Regulation for student records and what we can disclose and not disclose. We're allowed to charge fees for student records if we choose to do so. For outside requests, we don't, especially with other districts.
Have you ever had to pay any to get records?
No,
How do you know that?
no, even the California districts, of the couple of kids that inquired here that were talking when they were coming through for the road project or whatever, they weren't doing it either. So, okay, so that's all the student records one that goes over about 18 pages, feels like. Annual notification of student records, we do that in the handbooks. 7080 is the location of educated records or where they're supposed to be. We actually have a group coming in to do analysis. They came in and did an analysis of whether we're in compliance with this or not. And we're also looking at electronically putting those records on servers because as Amanda tried to find out who was the one that requested the records from the 70s or 80s, and we had to go through 18 boxes just to find the paper record. So we're looking to do a process to put them electronically so we can get access to all those 63. That's right.
He was trying to prove his name.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a statute of limitations?
No.
Student records? No.
Forever.
Student records, we can't request them.
They were actually right here in the.
They're actually in that cabinet, but we looked down at the 1958 ones and 63 down in there first. So we've looked at that, so I may be notifying the board that we're going to do the electronic records classification to make it easier on everybody. And this is particularly important when it comes to our IEP process and everything else, because those do have a statute of limitations with regards to them. It's 13 years. So we have a special ed student that goes on and transfers 3 or 4 colleges. They can request their IEP from here to reestablish their services in higher ed. So we got to make sure we're in compliance with that. Haven't had one yet in the years I've been here. Knock on wood, I don't jinx myself, but it could happen. So I think they're coming in Wednesday or Thursday this week to talk about where we're in compliance, where we're not being, and go from there. And I'll bring it forward to the board. It's rather costly. Beware when I bring the quote forward. It's based on worst case scenario, but it's only done on the work that is done. And they will manage the record system for us and create the filing system for like all the student transcripts, all the student discipline records, so we can have easy access to them. So we'll have to see what the cost is and whether it's detrimental or not. We'll see what it is. One of the ones I had.
We may leave it in a dusty box.
Yeah, we would see. 7082 exhibit designation of directory information that they can request. 7083 notification of new school of attendance of records available at previous school. We actually have another template that we use when we request record. We have a form that was done. Another example of a student records request form. And then how do we keep track of those forms is what 7085 is. Who requests them, who wants to see them, and go from there. 7086, destruction of information. And then request for transfers of records 7200. And then 7250 is the student photographs policy. You can opt out from being in there. And then 7211 is the regulation for transfer. And then 7261 is the regulation for opt out, what they can do and not do with photographs. There we go. Anything else?
I think we're done.
Yeah.
Everybody okay? All right, let's keep this thing started.
We'll open the meeting.
Yep.
Then for the pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico as a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Starting at
7:44, 7:42. Is she still trying? Oh, have you unmuted her?
She's still hanging out there. She's
Looks
waiting
like she's
patiently.
I have a question.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Modify the agenda.
Yes, you make a request, it's gonna be voted on.
It's 8 o'clock and we still have stuff to do and you're, can I, make the recommendation that we move the evaluation for a special meeting?
like
Yeah, because my brain is not, I want to do a good job on that.
Okay,
Can we do it at a different meeting?
Yeah.
Just a special.
A special meeting.
You're setting date for that?
Preferably.
here's what you have to do.
Okay.
You amend the agenda first to remove that in the executive session for the evaluation off of it. So you need a motion to amend the agenda to remove those from there. And then you have to put a separate action to create a special board meeting for purposes of evaluating the superintendent. So you gotta do it in a two-step process. So Elena, you're making a motion
To remove.
to amend the agenda to remove and then the last part of the contract, right?
Yes,
The last two items.
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
For a special meeting, to be determined, with
Okay, motion been made and seconded that we amend the agenda, taking off the last two being the what is it?
Executive
Executive session
and the action
and
item.
the
on the
action item
superintendent.
of the superintendent to be taking up at a special meeting at another date. All those in favor?
I.
All those opposed? Okay, we're just kicking you down the road, dude.
There we go. Stand.
Oh, can you unmute, Bray?
Yeah, I'm moving her in.
She can unmute whenever.
Oh, can she hear us?
She's frozen.
You're not muted to her.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, okay. Oh, there she
There you
is.
go.
Hi, Marie.
I can hear you.
You keep getting froze.
Hi, how are you?
You get stuck in positions.
I'm in
So,
In our second motion.
Would be to set up a time for the special meeting for the evaluation.
and that would be up to you and Kyle. I mean, if we could do it we could do it at 6 o'clock too, if it would be better to get,
No, then I was just a weird night.
okay.
Okay.
And you'll say, Joe.
Oh, I understand.
So look at the date. So my April is completely booked up, sorry.
Can we do it
About
for
the
April?
March.
So like,
What about
this
next
week, the end of this week or,
The end of this week.
like I'm open the
Yeah.
19th, the 20th, the 21st.
Me too.
We gotta remember, if your post is supposed to build meeting, you gotta have 72 hours.
So, yeah.
notice.
So the 20th,
What do you wanna do?
Hal, what are you the rest of this week?
Yeah.
Let me look.
Yeah.
I know I got some teacher interviews, but it should be okay. But,
Yeah, because it's after.
It's after.
yeah, it's after school. Yeah, but I had two online interviews, one at 4 and one at 5. I can't remember what day.
Which position?
Both sped and elementary teacher.
320.
Oh, sorry. 320.
That teacher?
Yeah. We're looking at adding a sped teacher to our caseload, maybe over. It's a tentative posting.
3
Well, so 5:30.
Okay. Well, I can, yeah. What's that?
Would 5:30 work? How long is?
5:30 should probably work. Let me check. Do I do it on the 20th? Because I want to put the announcement out tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20th will work. Because Wednesday night's the night I'm busy. Thursday night's gonna work better.
Okay,
So 5:30 Thursday night's fine.
3:20 at 5:30. Okay. Perfect, thank you.
You guys don't even need to be here.
No.
Be here. Executive session.
Session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't even have to be there. I wouldn't put it on my calendar. Unless you want to.
We just keep tabs.
So
Okay,
Okay.
all right, so minutes for February regular meeting.
Second. Sorry.
Motion been made and seconded to move to approve the meeting for February. All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Bills and payroll.
Marie, you're on.
Hey, guys. So looking through the packet, first part of the budget adjustment request, which I know that's another action items. We won't look at those right now.
Marie, you're muted.
But meaning of the am I? Oh, I might. Oh, it's going for me. Let me put something in the chat.
It's still, I think it's still compromised.
There, it doesn't show it.
Speaker thing, so on audio, flip the carrot. Oh, okay. How about now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. My bad, sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I was just saying that the first part of the agenda for the business is the budget adjustment requests, and I know that that's another action item. So we'll just look at the payroll and I'm sorry, we'll look at the purchase orders and the checks that have been cut for the month, and if there's any questions on those. The first part is the checks, and then and then the purchase requests, purchase orders.
This is all, yes,
yeah, I have some.
okay. We got all that.
Okay, so that's good. And then we just moved to the graphs, and
Hang on,
everything looks.
Hold on. Mark's got a couple questions.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
The Jim Bowman Limited, it's not a lot. What is it?
So it's a program for the cafeteria. It's like a promotional thing
Yeah.
for school breakfast.
And then Ortiz and Taylor.
That's our attorney.
4290.
Yeah, that's our attorney fee.
I know, but,
That's billed monthly.
oh, it's built much.
Yeah. So that's our stuff that's going on with all the personnel actions and everything else, so, and the investigation.
Just curious, where the seniors going?
We are going to Branson.
Because I saw.
All our seniors.
Yeah.
You gonna get the early bird special?
Find out, you sure? Okay.
The state mandated interim and yearly testing, is that one?
For
Yeah.
that's our IMESA and our MASA, so the big standard test and then the intermittent. And that's all next one.
Okay, that was it for that. Then I have a question on bank statement. The bank statement's not balanced. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hold on. Just let me get there. I checked it.
It doesn't match.
Um,
If you look at, there's 28 cents, and if you look at visions, it's, there's 9 cents there, it's 9 cents. So you have 19 cents, you're off. You know, you got, cash has to balance.
bank statement edit listing. There's a zero variance.
I know, but if you look at your bank statement from the bank, you have 337,206.28. And if you look at Visions, you have 327,208.09. There's two deposits. For one's for 14 cents or 15 cents and the other's for 9 cents on the bank statement. They're not in Visions. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I apologize for that. I don't know what happened there, but I'll get that fixed for sure.
Okay. That's
I,
it.
I just looked at the bottom line. I apologize. I'll get with my finance manager and find out what happened.
All right.
Melina?
Anything else? Okay, so Marie, I guess I have a question. And I know we're talking pennies, but I guess my concern as also a finance person. Those little pennies, those could be going both ways. So whenever you all pull these reports, when you do the reconciliation, when your folks are pulling this and then you're verifying what they're doing, what kind of checks and balances do you all have in place to ensure that this doesn't occur? I mean, where are they going to pull the data so that when you look and you see there's a zero variance, how is this template working on this bank reconciliation that didn't catch what Barbara pointed out? I guess is my question. The
Well, that's a good
subsidiary to the
question.
control.
That's a good question because there is a template that is in place that every deposit or every action on the bank rec is supposed to be accounted for. And so that's when I look at the bottom line and it says zero. I've assumed that she's done that, accounted for it. So
Well,
that is on
part of
me. I should have gone line by line and made sure.
debit for 19 cents. Yeah. So there's also a debit for 19 cents. So it washed in the bank statement,
Oh,
but it should,
oh,
but you.
I know what
have it.
that was for.
That's what I was asking. Yeah.
Because it washed. And she asked me, well, do we need to record it because it washed? And it was, we had done it was for the bank account so that I could pay for the athletic coaches through the bank account. That's what it was for. So they put some in and they took some out. Should have been accounted for. That I made the wrong call. I should have said, yes, we have to account for it no matter what. That was me. But I know exactly what it is now.
19 cents debit and it would still been in balance, but you would have had, I mean, like I said, you should have put it in as an adjustment.
Absolutely. You're exactly right, Barb. Yep. But I know exactly what it is now. I'm sorry. I didn't that didn't click with me.
The more ins and outs that go in and out is
Yeah.
easier for them to.
Yeah, gotta have.
Okay.
Gotta have, yes.
Anything else?
No, okay.
Tom, you're over there scratching your head. You got
I was
anything?
wondering why we're always paying other schools. I'm sure it's something to do with.
That's
Because that's-
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Shoot, I do
Yeah.
something.
I'm sure that's.
What we did this year is to ensure that if they weren't getting fed at the
Yeah.
games, we cut it for the credit card so they could stop somewhere after the game
Oh,
to
yeah.
make sure they were fed. Because sometimes, like we get down to Navajo, they run out of food, and
Yeah.
you don't do it,
Oh,
and you stop. So we made sure we had a double setup this year for BMO and for the concessions when we went to our game.
How are those P cards? Are they working good?
Oh, they're awesome. The problem is sometimes is when you're trying to trade five and you're trying to register for conference, they do it individually. a lot of it gets sent to mine and Amanda's card, even though we may not pay for it. Because we're the ones that have the permanent ones, like Brandon had to come get mine today to register. Nicole had to do her HR stuff through my card and everything else, so it looks like I'm spending a lot. No, I'm making sure everybody else is covered.
The other ones don't have as much money on them or? what?
No, it happens because of like when they're out for basketball, we'd have two out. We may have one. Tony would have one for WOAG, so Amanda's and I may be the only one that is in the
Oh, I see.
building. So we may want to look at adding just a separate one for WOAG for next year, so that way they would have their own card.
He's also running the issues like booking rooms,
Yeah.
because they're individual charges that will flag it as fraud
Right.
because they're the same charge.
Over, yeah. Making room
Yeah.
reservations for all those.
So we have a separate dedicated card for FFA. It will, because I don't run that issue when I book them for athletics and like that, because it has a name on it. So we can put FFA teacher on there with a name, and then once we get that resolved.
Everyone built?
I don't have any. It's a bar.
Motion.
To approve. Second. Oh, sorry.
Motion been made, second to approve payroll and bills. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, budget adjustment requests. We have a few.
Yes, these are the budget. So the budgets were the audits were finalized, and these budget adjustment requests are, so when the budget is put out, it's a estimation of what will be in the remaining cash. And these, when the audit is actually done, sometimes there's a variance, and that's what these budget adjustment requests are. They're the variance between what was estimated for the budget and what the audit actually showed at the end of the audit.
So,
Motion been made and seconded to approve the budget adjustment requests. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. All right,
I apologize, don't have a.
Okay. Marie, thank you. I don't know
Thank
where
you.
you're at, where you've traveled to. You look like you're in the car, but wherever you're at, safe travels, and we'll see you in 2 weeks,
In April.
3 weeks.
April 9th is your normal board meeting, and that is spring budget week. So,
Oh, we're gonna move
We're
it.
gonna move it. I'll get it with you, Marie. I brought it up to Cody
okay,
today.
We're probably gonna move it to
Okay,
the next
perfect.
week. Would that be
okay,
good?
perfect.
Okay. All right, thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Bye.
Principal's report, much?
So it's been a rat race. I feel like we were just here. But things are moving along. We'll do testing as soon as we come back from spring break.
That's next week.
Spring break is next week, then
So
state
they go all
judging.
day Thursday?
Yeah. Thursday the full day.
And then they come back and then they go.
State judging.
Yeah, we got,
We've
I don't know,
got,
some-
2 teams qualified,
So far.
produce team and that's.
Did they get them all counted from Saturday?
We'll see how it's after.
So they,
And it's 8 different kids, so we'll take 8 kids.
produce and,
Well,
They're limiting, they're not allowed to bring 2 of any teams anymore, so
Oh,
we
wow.
have 1 whole team and 1 pro team.
And that was because of us last year, I guess.
I guess,
One and
yeah,
Mill two.
they got
That's what I
tired
heard.
of being beat 1 and 2. Drastically, like by 80-some points, so there's new.
Little
rules,
crack
you know,
piece.
one team, so.
Is this recorded?
However, we have pushed a little bit for accommodations to stand in FFA judging because they have not really supported those students in the past. You're left to your own devices, and we're going to push for a reader for the written exams produce to accommodate.
well, I think it,
Should have stood, and I've asked the question for many years. They have not.
yeah, because I know a young man in Captain that his dad has to go with him to read the questions for him.
A blind young student from Hondo, he gets accommodated, but not the reader. So,
Yeah, I have another question or another concern. but I wasn't gonna share with Marie because I've shared it with her every time we've had a meeting. You guys have a lot of activity plans that are in the hole. And that needs to be prepared. Those are huge audit,
Yes.
especially activity. There are several that have.
Hard to fill you in.
So I don't know.
I talked to Brian about within last Friday. I talked to him twice in the last week. I mentioned that to him. He was totally unaware that was going on. Nobody worried about it.
So where will the money come from?
Yes.
That's the extra money we set aside for the meals and like that from the WID funds we talked about last year.
Yeah, so you can have the whole win money.
That's exactly what that was done, and I told Brian that in the translation between 3 different business managers in a year. It's not getting done, even though I keep asking for it, so I called, Brian called me and I told him. So I need to send that, so.
Are in the cash report, all the 23 are activity points.
Yeah, it should
And
be.
there are several. Things that I already have in my stuff.
Because I was sending some of those POs up for meals through WID funds to be paid. And they were not coding them right on their end, so I gotta tell Brian exactly where those funds need to come from, they need to make the adjustment.
I've asked her to fix this, I don't know how many times.
I'll fill you in at the end of the meeting.
Okay, you heard last time, we were
Yeah.
talking about hiring somebody. So-
We're there,
So we're there.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't finalize everything, April 7th,
You're on the sheet, right?
yeah.
I'm on this, yes.
They were pulling them from operational and activity funds instead of taking them from the designated funds we had set aside. They were supposed to seed those accounts at the beginning of the year with a net, with a certain amount of money that I gave them. And it was never seeded by a net, and Liz never did it. And then when I started talking to Brian and found out what happened, the money I set aside for the extra meals and all that stuff was never put in from the wind funds into those accounts.
Okay, time out. We'll get to that in just a second.
Yeah.
Let her finish her.
Yeah, sorry, but activity is part of your deal.
Yeah.
Right, you guys
I'm
need
still
to
learning
see
that.
that.
Still learning the financial side of that.
Yeah.
Let her
That's
finish
why I
that.
brought it up.
I'll-
Sorry.
I'll
Oh,
let
you're
you-
good. The stat, well, obviously, so our girls made it to the second round of the state tournament. Unfortunately, lost there. We did have a student received the Mac Chase scholarship and was awarded in the 3A championship.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
It's a cool shirt. You look very nice. We figured you guys had to see that.
I'm pretty excited. My husband was very funny when I said, "Hey, your son got an NMAA scholarship." It's like, "Rip already?" Like, no, the senior, the one that's graduating. He's like, "How did he get an NMAA scholarship?"
Must be, right?
Ag also falls under NMAA. So, we haven't heard back on any of the other scholarships, and none of the kids have reported to me yet. So, and then they will fill out their name. I'm gonna give those to them tomorrow. So I've held off
Oh, okay, cool.
for a bit while they kind of figured out the process, and so we'll get them turned in, but.
So he goes, another one? I said, son, for every one of these you fill out, that's one less calf you've got to produce.
Like another stat, we have had some students move out. We're down to 6,200 in our elementary, 40 in our high school, giving us 102 students.
Down 10.
Oh, okay.
But we're expecting another group to move in here shortly.
There it
At
is.
the end of the year. If not July. If not, it'll be July.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's pretty much even.
So on this, if we didn't have that win money, where would that money come from to put in?
I'm not sure they
You
have
know
all.
what? I probably would have taken it out of some of these other FFA funds, like I would have asked Mr. Johnson out of FFA if he would be willing to donate. Because this has nothing to do with the school. This,
Right.
I can't take it out of operation, I can take it out of, anywhere else. But because Mr. Johnson had such a huge deal, I probably would have gone to every single one of these activity funds and said, based on this and the percentage, I need to take 10% from you, 30% from you to make up the 100 to make up that gap. But you have to get the okay from these activity, whoever has this activity account.
Oh, I
would
would
imagine
imagine
that would create morale issues to a certain
Yeah.
matter. Yeah, It really would. I mean, it would be,
Which I totally get.
this should never have been allowed to happen, and it wasn't
Well-
going to because this never happened in my work. Never.
And where's this money account?
I just, how did it even happen?
Well,
Because they
people
just-
came with a PO and said, I need to do this or I need to do that. One of them is student activities. Or no, yeah, and then volleyball. Volleyball was in the hole and Booster Club was in the hole. And so they probably would have come and said, I need to buy such and such. And I would have gone to the cash balance because this is not budget. And I would have said, you don't have enough.
Yeah.
And so you need to have a fundraiser, or you need to ask for donations, or you need.
But with the situation we were in, them
Yeah.
being there, nobody knew where to
knew what
look.
cash was.
They just came and said, here's a PO for $800, okay.
And this gets back to what Barb brought up earlier in the year, because the cash reconciliation wasn't balancing out. We didn't know what the account was until Brian got involved when they finally balanced it February.
February, yeah.
So we went through 9 months with the transitions of them not having the cash balances accurate.
And that's just getting worse.
And that's why last year, when we brought this up in the budget with the extra meals and like that, we were looking at doing the fund. That money should have been seeded because I gave Annette a breakdown of what anticipated meals were, because like I anticipated 20 basketball players, 10 girls, 10 guys to put in those accounts. And you would just shift between those accounts from the wind funds and we would seed them. Never happened on K-12.
When is our K-12?
Never create POs unless they check cash
Yeah.
for all the 20.
Yeah.
And that is on them.
They should have called back and said, hey, there's not enough money
Yeah.
instead of.
And
That's
they
why
were.
I was like. I
When is K-12's contract up?
I am notifying them this Friday that we have a business manager and we're gonna start to transition with them. It ends June 3rd.
April.
So we will do the transition with our new business manager, Vicky Chavez from Deming. She will be coming in. I had to wait for her to give me the clearance. I finalized everything with her Friday. She can start April 7th because she's done at Deming on April. So she will be here working or virtually in those days. I give her some transition time because she's gonna move a trailer up here and everything else. But she's planning on being site April 7th.
Well, this might be one of her
She's looking at it.
projects.
Then, trust me, I'm gonna bring that to Brian's attention on Friday of all this that happened because they were approved.
I have another one.
We're not the only district that's doing it with them because Carrizosa ran into similar issues with them this year. As well.
Okay, first reading, discussion policy, school board policy, review section J, specifically J 0050 to the end.
Yep.
I assume.
All those, most been made second to approve the first reading of the J's. All those in favor?
Vote aye.
Oh,
Yes.
oh,
And that's what.
yes, yes.
So based on our conversation on the modifications and the homework and going through and the AI. And so we still go through all these hoops. Even
Approve
if
it.
we have some
Yeah.
changes, those will take effect before we approve after the third reading.
Correct.
Right. Once we've approved the whole policy, then we'll come back
And
and
amended.
amend it.
We had some.
You didn't get through for that part.
We
We
had
had some gender stuff in there, some, not
Yeah.
gender identity in this, in the J's.
Yeah.
And there's some other things in there that we need to go through and make sure that
change.
we
Okay,
change.
just remind me.
Well, what we're gonna do is, it's easier to, either to adopt it and then come back and amend it, than try to amend it now, and then we'd have to go through 3 more readings. So, okay. So, motion been made and seconded to approve all the J's. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that gets us to the second reading and discussion of the school board policy review section I, specifically I-050 to I-7600.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve all those ayes. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Third and final reading of policy, school board policy review section E, specifically E0050 to E4550.
Which ones are those? I so moved.
What were the E's?
Those were the ones on, We did them in January, and the exec group was, those were ones about the financial of the district, I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion been made, seconded to approve. I guess you-
I did make
Did I get a second? Okay, motion been made, seconded to approve third reading of the school board policy section E. All those in favor?
I
All those opposed? All right.
move to, oh, sorry.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
I move to approve the Corona Public Schools Master Facility Plan. Second.
That is this. That is what we went over before you got here. If you have any questions,
Yeah.
give it to him. It's pretty self-explanatory. It just gives us what, the most important thing is those back pages, showing the, kind of the timeline. It looks like we can get 100% of a brand new school paid for. If not, it's not gonna cost us.
You might get an 80/20 whatever.
The only hangups that I saw and that I heard him say is, and you said, is that we just have to get that either the 1.3 or the 3 point whatever, 3.3 mill levy passed so that we can get to 10. But it may not have to be 10, because if it goes to the legislature and she signs it, it may only have to be 8. Remember that they were talking about that up there, and it's passed.
It's passed the Senate already.
And we have never in this community. No, and when they know what it's for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even talking to the,
But you know, I've never had anybody ever ask nothing. Since I've been on the board, when the mill's up there,
There's never any.
I've never had
I think
anybody-
it's because we've always been education,
Yeah.
post-school.
And they-
I will tell you though, that I have heard grumbles in the community that the phones are perfectly fine. They don't understand why we. Okay. So I think you guys are gonna
We're
have
gonna,
to be
yeah,
very
we're gonna have
clear
to, yeah.
that there
Yeah.
are other issues.
Are they older individuals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they went here, they don't want it to go.
well, I don't either, but
Well, we might
I
have to have some
understand.
community meetings. Well, let them have.
If they-
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Anything you want, you can get one.
Let them
And-
come in.
and
and bring up-
Until they see the $70,000.
step in the pile, yeah. $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 plumbing bills that,
We've been getting.
They would get hit.
I don't know how much you had to spend.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of the new stuff, yeah, we've had to put new stuff in
Yeah.
because our boilers are, but.
And unique thing is, when I talk to the people at the sporting events that come on a regular basis, they're all very positive. There's that small group that are outside. I mean, even talking to your dad and everything else about what's going on and understanding the need for future generations. You have two distinct groups of that old population that are,
progressive. I mean,
that will do it.
He understands.
And there's pro-education team to sell on that, and I mean, I just ran the numbers quickly in my head. I can get them for you guys next month for sure. But with this latest $77,000 project to take care of the sewer collapsing over on this part towards that, we're close to $300,000 in general projects for this year in maintenance, and
Money down
And
the
what
road.
else they look at this?
we're putting Band-Aid on a 18 stitch suture wound we need.
And you know, you're never gonna please everybody.
Yeah.
That's just the way, no matter how bad it is. Or in Nebraska, but he was always with silver platter, and we asked him, you were on the school board in Nebraska, did you know on these things? He goes, no, we needed them. I was like. But anyway, what's next? Sorry.
Okay,
Motion been made, seconded to.
we already voted for them.
Did we already vote? for
Yeah, I
that?
got it written down for them.
Now it's just.
We approved.
That was discussion. Okay,
Discussion,
I just-
calendar lawsuit.
okay, first thing, counter lawsuit, the governor and Department of Ed have appealed it. So it's gonna be a 2-year process to get through, but the thing's still gonna be intact because the judge did not do it on an expedited appeal process on the appeals court. The appeals judges have voted to let it go through the process. So you're looking at 2 years of maintaining this. But what's gonna happen is we're gonna need to contribute more. They're gonna be asking for another $1,000 to do it. I told Stan, the director of MCell and the superintendent association, I come to the board. There are several of us considering we can use wind farm money. If the board would be willing for us to go up to $5,000 a piece, because there are some, like the reservation schools, that have a tough time getting the money. I'll put 1,000 in first, and if they need more, I told Stan to come back and ask. I just want to make sure you guys are aware, because he doesn't want to issue multiple
asks.
I asked everybody because it makes it look like the money grab. He wants to make sure he's gonna get estimates of total cost. We're gonna talk about it at budget conference. So in the April meeting, we may bring back the actual cost, but I'm just telling you, there's probably be $1,000, a minimum $1,000 bill coming for the next step. If all 64 districts and 32 charters put in, that might be enough, but they're gonna ask for an estimate of what it could cost because appeals are a lot more than the initial plan.
So
Just
you're,
because all the work.
this is a
So
stupid
the
question.
judge screwed up and now it's going.
No, we
They
won
need to-
everything.
We won.
Had approved it, but we still have legal fees going through the appeals process. We have
They
to file
appeal.
motions and they appeal.
They have state, they're state.
So we would have probably appealed if it went the
We
other.
would appeal the other way,
Yeah.
and went the other way.
So, budget this?
Yes. We're actually gonna look at budgeting it for next year.
Pay for it anyways.
Yeah.
So I would say, so if we are gonna budget it, why would we wanna use wind money?
The thing is, we gotta be very careful of what we pull from. Because of it being a legal proceeding, as Barb will tell you, if it comes from our SEG, it could be fine for as part of our legal expenses. But if it's a below the line item that we try to take it out of, that's where we get in trouble. So if you want me to budget it and put it in for next year,
I want the state.
well, the state will pay at the end, but we have to come up front.
Well,
But-
yeah, because that money for legal fees is, that's a gray area.
Yeah.
We would be better off, especially if they win, getting that out of.
Yeah, because I learned about that above the line, and
Yeah.
below the line, and in the middle of the line.
Yeah, the local line is out, that's money that's given to us, the calculation based on the SCG, right?
No, the below the line are actually implied programs that you'd have to do and would have to have something related to legal.
Okay,
The above the line ones is what's done for students in programs. So we can take it out operational and budget into our plan, but a lot of people are looking at alternative funds. We could take it out of our local property tax because we have discretion over that. But like Barb said, wind might be the best to use it out of. To do that
still get reimbursed?
at the end, once it goes all the way, it's very important. But this is gonna be Stan told all the superintendents, look at it this way. You're investing to maintain the 4-day school week, you're gonna get your return on investment later on if it comes back, because they will have to pay back the legal fees. Or at least whatever the judge rules at that point in time for that. We may not get all of it back, but we'll at least get a percentage of it back and we can do it, but it's just a way to make sure we're investing to keep it going. But I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. So I'll have better numbers next month.
So how many schools are in on this deal?
We have, I know we have 38 charters. I believe we got to 62 public schools.
Was, right.
64, 62, somewhere in that neighborhood. I gotta look at the exact numbers.
So it's still the same number of what it was originally.
Yeah. There's actually, nobody else can join it now. So it's just those 102 entities that are involved in it.
Okay.
But we're gonna talk about Albuquerque and them having to pay up some of the money too, because we protected their way of doing their professional development too, but that's different. Little guys stood up. Teacher housing, I met with PSFA. They have already started the process of permitting and all the required testing that needs to go on. They're hoping to have the asbestos test done by the end of next week. So we can start demo as soon as possible. I just want to remind the board, this is a PSFA funded project, so they're taking the lead on it. We got to follow theirs, so they're doing all the procurement for us and everything else. I'm involved in all the discussions, making sure they know. I can recommend vendors for them to send out to and everything else. It's been a very flawless process right now. And they're moving real quick because they want to make sure that they can get this money expended and we have those things built by July 31st is their time. They're hoping to do it earlier if we get the demo part done quicker.
Did those individuals that were asking me questions and I told you they would be getting with you because that's what I recommended, did they get with you?
Not yet.
I
So,
told them sooner than later.
yeah, but that's just for that lot. They've got to do soil samples. They got to do the hydrology tests and all those things. But they're going to get the asbestos test and the soil samples done first because based on my opinion, I think we may need to put a retaining wall down there to prevent erosion because it's such a severe slope.
From
So-
the road.
Yeah, and that's actually part of the site setup. So they want to make sure that they can do it. And I've already talked to Tony about getting all the stuff out of there we need. Their drop dead date that they would like to have everything out of there right now is April 15th. So I talked to Tony today about that to make sure all the cabinets and everything you get out of there was there. We're gonna wait to take the doors and the windows out last minute so we don't get squatters in the house. So the date before they do that, Tony's gonna start pulling stuff out and get as much out as he can. I told him salvage what you can. If not, it is what it is, but you get the doors off and all that stuff so we can resell them or whatever. So that's the timeline right now. And I've been in contact with them. They've developed the scope of work for us for preparing the lot. I'm gonna meet with them again next week over break. I'm not gonna have much of a break because the teacher out, but that's fine. But PSFA contracts and all that stuff, I'll make sure that we get verified. They will send me to that. You don't have to approve as a board because it's their project, but they'll keep us informed of how they're doing it. But it's gone pretty smoothly right now. They're moving really quick to try to get this done in a timely manner. I'm impressed. So there's that.
So are we. So
Yeah,
am I.
yeah,
I figured it'd be this time next year.
yeah. Next, well, there could be delays, keep in mind, with site prep and all that, but they're shooting for July 31st.
As long as I can work in the wind, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
I don't see.
Yeah. Okay. As we started to make conversion for our PA system and to be able to have access from the outside number to call in and control it, so like dispatch could tell police where to go in a building. Because sometimes their radios don't work inside our buildings and like that, they can have access with that. We were running to an issue that Plateau did not have any additional numbers the district could implement in there. So I authorized Bill Mundy, who's the person who's doing this for the contractor we're doing, is to look at using Barb's old business manager number as the portable for that. The number that was put in, I know it's listed as Barb's number on the phone list still now to this day. So we had to let them know 1711 was the business manager's number that was coming in, but on the phone list at Plateau, it had Barb's number. So we had to let Plateau know it was Barb's number, that we're trying to do it. They're running the test this week. If it works, it'll be great because then we can give that dedicated number to law enforcement. They can gain access to the PA system. They might be able to gain access to the cameras if we can port that as a number into that as access so they can have all of it. They have a user name already inside the system can happen. If not, worst case scenario is we get either a Verizon or T-Mobile number that is Corona, because right now the only numbers available for Plateau are coming out of Vaughn or Capitan. And we don't want to confuse parents because if it's an emergency call that comes out from that system, they see those numbers. Want to make sure, so it would cost us maybe 20, because the amount of time we'd use it, we might be able to get it for $20 a month a line for the safety of kids, which I think is well worth $240 a year if we have to do that route. But at least it would have an emergency notification coming out from a number linked to Corona and not another municipality around us. So hopefully by Friday, we will have an answer whether the 1711 number works or we have to go that route. But I've already had an initial conversation with T-Mobile. They do school discounts for that. They were looking at $27. It's only one line for safety. They might be willing to sponsor. I got to talk to the regional guy. So they might be able to give us one line for free as a test because, as you know, T-Mobile doesn't work really well up here. But it does work. Not all the time. But it does work through their landline system because they route it a different way, so it might work. So we might be a test district for them. But I will talk to Bill once we get there. But he's running the test on the pings of the line. We got to do it for 3 straight days. He started it Monday night, so he's got to go through Thursday morning, and then we can actually test the system to call in and see what the caller ID says coming out. That's
So when you
probably
say
Thursday or
landline,
Friday.
are you talking copper?
What's that?
When you say landline, are you talking copper?
Yeah, we're talking the actual lines into the building. We have 2 existing main lines in this building plus the fax machine, which are the 3 lines that we own as a district. So 1711, 1911, and the fax number is 2020.
And Plateau
What has
hasn't
it
told you.
I don't know. 2026 is the fax.
Yeah, 2026.
4949 was a number that rang at school too.
Okay, I'll look at that one too.
Plateau has 1711, 1911, 2026, and 4949.
Okay.
The only reason I'm asking, Plateau hasn't communicated that those are going away.
What? No, we don't have any other available outside lines to purchase to come in.
But the copper. It's my understanding, all copper is going.
That might be.
Copper or is it fiber? Because we have fiber for the internet.
Yeah, we have 5 for the
Everything
other.
will be fiber.
Well, they got,
I think they tied it
Yeah.
in. Yeah, they tied it into fiber.
So it's not on copper.
No,
It's all fiber.
Yeah.
it's probably all fiber. I don't think I see it.
what they going to buy?
So it shouldn't be a problem. Well, it's anybody who doesn't have.
The problem is the existing lines we have, there's not another line with Corona. All the Corona numbers are paid. So if we do it, if we purchase another line, it's gotta be for Capitan or Vaughn, which one's the issue?
It's gonna be digital.
Yeah, we just wanna make sure that call right, you know, emergencies come out of here to law enforcement and everybody else. They probably.
Okay, so here's, Lana and I have had this conversation, their CEO,
Yeah,
because I didn't realize until they ran fiber to us. In fact, I just sent her an email today, with that big power outage we had on Friday, because I've got to have 24/7 communication.
yeah,
And when they ran fiber, I lost my landline, I lost
Yeah.
copper, which was 24/7 regardless. During outages,
Oh, on fiber, your little,
I have, and they gave me beeped up batteries.
yeah.
But after they're gone. and
Yeah, we
I
have
don't
2
have
hour back.
service. And not only me, but a lot of our members are in that situation too. So I told Lana, I said, did y'all even think, because it's not good for them, it's not good for any utility, what that's gonna look like down the road when all the copper goes away, because that was like our lifeline.
Yeah.
you still have, I mean,
Yeah.
you still have a,
Well,
what we call it, princess phone.
And I have an old orange phone that came from who knows where of it. You dial it.
And
And
they
it
must have
works,
not
but-
deactivated your copper then, but that's coming. So just, that's,
Yeah, because, I mean, that's where we communicate.
because they said,
Yeah.
all of that will be, Lana's telling me all of it will be deactivated. Just FYI.
When did she say? She didn't say.
I need to go for it.
So this was my next, and I'm sorry
Yeah.
but you guys
need to
something
think
to
about
think
this.
about.
Yeah.
When that, so if there's a major power outage and everything is fiber, and I don't know what kind of, I know Vercott has had. Yeah,
Yeah, we had 2 hour backups on all our systems.
and in some cases,
Yeah, it's not gonna be enough.
that's not gonna be enough. So here's another scenario, and I'm sorry, but I mean, we've had these conversations, we're all very concerned in the rural areas. And we're fighting it. There's legislation right now in Santa Fe with the power shutoffs with the investor-owned utilities, the big
Yeah.
utilities. But it's not just Albuquerque and Las Cruces and El Paso and Santa Fe and Roswell. So like Central, I'll just give an example. And our co-op is not different from others. So even though we buy power from the GNT, okay, it's willed through PNM's transmission lines. And so just 2 weeks ago, everything hit the fan because we found out that PNM is putting their transmission on one shot. They're not shutting it off, but they're putting their transmission on one shot. So one operation occurs and it all shuts down. Do you know how long it's going to take for them to patrol the transmission in rural areas before they can bring it back up? We're
Yeah.
looking at a full day. If there's an operation, I'm not saying that would happen. So like Central, we put our lines on one shot that are in the wooded areas on a really windy day. So when an operation occurs, so when you're at home and you have an operation that goes, your power flickers 3 times.
Yeah.
Those are 3 operations. One shot is one time it shuts
And
down.
Yeah.
So that's where we're headed. So that's the only reason
Okay.
I bring this up is we're concerned with all of the automation and everything that's happening. And then all these other things are happening, on the outskirts of that. It's fixing to be a little bit chaotic. So,
Because on you guys' one shot, you know where you shut it off. You don't have to check the whole region. You go to the mountains. Yeah,
we know where the grid is and how.
Right. right.
But
But
we
they
still have a
don't.
lot of miles.
Oh, well, yeah, you stop, but
So
Okay.
anyway, I'm just sharing because those are concerns that we're all having because of the way this stuff is moving. It's like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing.
We got our annual review with Mercado coming up in April. They kind of do that to see how service, now we got everything done, and now we're gonna have Camden out of Santa Fe as our service provider. coming down for maintenance and everything else. I can bring it up to them and see what ideas they may have for that.
So sorry, so this, I can't believe I didn't think to bring this up. Something that we need to consider in this is this school needs to have a full backup generator on the building. To the extent that it could run for a full day on that generator. The main components that you would want, your security, your
Yeah.
network, your heating, your cooling. So just a generator. The only thing is it's really hard, we have a Generac and it's really hard to find folks, we're running into that too,
Yeah.
that will support it and take care of it and maintain it. So it,
No,
sorry,
We'll look
to
to
be
see.
a
We will
negative
train
Nelly.
people to film.
Yeah.
CT program, right?
right there.
CTE program.
Anyway, sorry.
That'll work.
Anything else on the phone security?
No, that should be it.
Okay.
Okay, update on Power School U. We did find some virtual options for July and September that can be catered better. I called our Power School person and he also suggested we may want to do an individual contract just for them for training as opposed to going, because Power School U throws a whole bunch at you. What they can do is come in and do an evaluation of what training we may need to make them interact. So I talked to them. They're not ready to talk about that option yet because it's brand new for a lot of schools in New Mexico. They've done it in other states, but they're starting to roll that out. So I'm going to get with them in the next couple of weeks in early April, see what we can do. But there are virtual options online that we could access that may be better fit our needs than they going there. So I'm going to set up a complete meeting with them and their training staff, let them know what we're looking at because we're starting to find that as we incorporate all parts of Power School, they may not be communicating right. Like right now, we're in a fight with Penn on our attendance module because we don't have this, even though we're one school underneath them, we have two buildings for attendance, and we report attendance high school by period and elementary by day forever. And they want us to do the same because we're a combined school. I go, no, we're two different buildings. So I finally emailed Greg Forsett today. I says, we're doing it the same way as Capitan, Cloudcroft, and Carrizozo. Why is your attendance being certified and ours not? Ours is not, and I haven't heard a word back from Penn in the last 2 days. So we'll get that resolved in doing that, but we will work with Power School can do a catered professional development plan for districts. And with the amount of turnover, I'm going to make sure when the new business managers come on, I know she's very knowledgeable at Power School. What she knows, she used to train Power School at one time, and when she was a director in the district she was at. So I want to get to understand what she can bring to the table, and we can cater this to how it all works. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. So we go from there. And then the last thing is, as Marie brought up, the 9th is the first day of budget conference. So the 9th, 10th, and 11th. Cody and I talked. It's better for middle of the week instead of trying to scramble for a Monday meeting and Cody drives home and forgets about whether it's the meeting or not, but you almost did tonight. No,
No, I did not.
there was one time though you talked about it.
Travis texted me, where you at?
Yeah, there we go.
I'm at home.
So we're looking at just moving it to the 16th the following week so that we confirm everything. Right now, Barb's gonna be shocked. Our tentative budget date for submission is June 10th. Yeah, that's the latest we probably ever had. So, yeah,
April 14th.
yeah. We were using the early ones, but there are quite a few of us that are in the lawsuit that moved to June.
Oh, and so you don't control the date?
No, they sent it to us and we submit, but June 10th is our tentative date, but I'm waiting for it to be changed earlier because I think that's the game they may play with the 4-day districts, but I'll keep you guys advised. But if that's the case, our June board meeting is the 10th, the very next day. We may want to look at doing just a budget meeting on the 9th. Or 11th would be that.
Yeah.
We can do one on Monday or do it that Tuesday. Have a special meeting just to do the budget. And then we can do the rest of the work on Wednesday, get them, because that's gonna be a busy month for us because we have to do the policy and procedure amendments, changes, all those things. So I recommend we look at a board meeting. You don't have to tell me that right now. But that can be done if you can't attend. Actually, you can do virtual and we can do the roll call votes and we do the budget update and all that. But I'm planning on giving you at least a skeleton presentation in May of what we know at that point in time of what our priorities will be, and then we can do the final budget approval and presentation on that special board meeting. I'll keep you guys apprised.
So when do you want to do the April meeting?
16th, following Wednesday.
Actually works for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you'll shoot out a meeting invite.
Yeah.
So,
I'll change the date on the calendar and we can go from there.
first week.
Okay, so there's that. So that's all I've got. So I will move that meeting to April 16th.
So you've had some inquiries on your teaching position?
Yes. We're interviewing. We actually have a candidate coming on campus Wednesday
For
early childhood. Pre-K through 2. That's our special.
pre-K through 2, so where would you put her?
Crystal.
Oh, Crystal.
Crystal.
Time.
And but you haven't heard from Marissa for sure?
Not officially.
She's only, Tony and Julie are the only official ones, aren't they? Well, Crystal has turned in her.
Crystal hasn't officially turned in her resignation letter, but I've signed her retirement paper, or getting ready to sign her retirement paper. So let her have it first,
Either way.
Either way, it's like that.
The stage, the state tournament,
Yeah.
because I told mom, you want to tell Clifford, do you want me to tell Mr. Clifford to return?
I told her because here's the issue we're running into. Because the ERB being understaffed, I told her, I said, you better get that paperwork in by April 1, or you might not have your first step in July. Because there are some people right now that have been backlogged that submitted their retirement letters in January, they still haven't processed them. Tony and Julie's have started here, but it seems like they wait and try to do everything at once. I said, you gotta push them to make sure they get everything done, so on July 1, you know for sure that gets done.
So no other elementary leads?
We've interviewed multiple people. So we're bringing one on for now, but we gotta wait officially till everybody, and we've had,
We told me about the STEM lady.
yeah, we have a STEM lady that would come for Hannah Garrett that we're interviewing on Tuesday, tomorrow afternoon. She's one of my interviews. We have the additional sped position that Rain and I are looking at possibly staffing because we have a caseload of 34 students now as compared to 14 last year. We've added 20 sped.
You're gonna have to quit testing those kids so good. God, let's start having them.
The problem is, a lot of them are coming out of state, we're required to test them. So we've got that going on.
It's a wonder any of them.
And we have a couple other, once everything shakes out in the elementary, once we know exactly what's happening with Julie and like that, we do have a couple. The one interview I'm doing on Wednesday is a late elementary teacher. We do have some flexibility with some of the licensure that we have to move people. We can do that, so.
Have you decided with your administrative leave people, or are you gonna offer them a contract?
Not officially yet. We haven't done anything yet, so. We gotta let the process keep playing out, see what happens, and then we go from there.
But did they move out of the teachers?
Not officially yet. They haven't officially moved yet. They told me they're moving. They didn't give me a date of move out so I can cease their service.
They give you a reason why?
They're buying a
They're
house.
buying.
Oh, they're buying that.
Yeah.
So we can go from there, but that's all I've got.
Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Keep us informed.
We will.
Especially with an
We've
ag.
got some good candidates, I'll be honest.
I even did a WT for an ag teacher, and they said there's so many ag jobs
Well,
in Texas that. they
so
don't
you
have
know,
ag teachers
we've-
for it.
You know what? Since I talked to you last week at state basketball, we've had 3 inquiries on VOAG after last week.
I know of one of them.
Good ones?
So
Can you tell me what school?
it's a Wuhan. So I'm just gonna share a concern that Jeff and I have.
Yeah.
And I'm preaching to the choir, but just please be cautious on a young male.
Oh, you know,
Single,
But we've
a
actually-
young male, single ag teacher.
and to prove a point to you,
Seen that.
we did have a current female VOAG.
No.
Yeah.
I just soon have a.
Yeah.
Well, for certain reasons, there's nothing, I mean. No, I'm not just.
I know, but
I know as many
we
good, I know as many good women ag teachers as I do men ag teachers.
There's also.
And sometimes I know a whole lot more better ones.
Yeah, one is, there's also another, female assistant from out of state that called me Thursday, I think it was. No, it wouldn't have been Thursday, but Tuesday before I left for state.
Well,
Inquiring to
They
see what
were
was it.
females
Yeah.
too, young, single.
Well, she's not exactly young. She's done it 8 years as a middle school ag teacher over in Texas.
It's not
well, I
hard.
tried to get the one in Dallas, but,
No, that wasn't the name.
well.
Sorry.
There's one that came from, well, she's from a district in East Texas. Her husband got reassigned through the Forest Service over this part of the state, was inquiring to find out if because he could apply to work in Ruidoso if he wanted to, how far they were from here and that type of thing. But he hasn't been officially assigned yet to whatever station he's been at yet, but she was exploring opportunities. So I'm not sure if the husband got assigned to Ruidoso or Lincoln Forest or they're going down to Gila or whatever. But she was just inquiring if how far were we from certain areas. I told her you can apply. I didn't check on Reed yet to see if she applied. If there's something.
So. How do I say this? So you being new to this area and the culture here, Tony's shoes are gonna be big ones to fill.
And
And
that's gonna be a hard thing.
that's gonna be hard, and we're super stinking competitive, showing and judging the families. And so the expectations, I'm just sharing, they are gonna be high.
Tony wrote the job description for me.
Okay. I'm just trying to.
What else do you want me to do?
Yeah, he also told all, like, when he talked to the teacher, he said, you're not trying to fill my shoes.
But
Because several have not applied for that.
I
particular
know,
reason.
yeah,
That you have to develop your own way, but know that it is well established.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
yeah, thank you, very well put.
Yeah.
Yes.
but
That's-
that
we have-
that deters some of them, because they
Yeah,
don't.
there's been about 4 that have said, no, I won't apply because those are great shoes.
But
Well.
Yeah.
At least they realize.
They're honest.
I mean,
Yeah.
now the next one, if we ever went to the, if the person doesn't stay long, if you have to hire next, well, they'll all jump on it.
Yeah.
It's just like coaches.
And
It's
one,
the same thing
yeah.
with coaches.
And one of our potential
You gotta be
candidates
the
went
coach.
through because his wife got the superintendent gig at Tech.
She did.
Yeah. He's the acting superintendent for the rest of the school year and she's gonna apply for the job now.
Oh,
The Petersburg.
Yeah.
He would have been. She had her elementary, so that was gonna take care of too. Damn, Dexter.
well, and the Wuhan young man, those boys were both, they're good. Showing, judging, there they are, but.
Oh, from Stanton. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the one that's in Oklahoma and married to Kellen. It's the other one.
I don't know them that well, but I know who they are.
Sorry, small, I know this is, I hate it when my board gets involved in all my. I read stuff, I'm sorry. I'm not person. I'm like, God, this is not your deal, this is mine.
Yeah.
Sorry, Curtis.
Nope.
And Amanda.
I was gonna bring it up in executive session.
He already has informed me one that he would. So
Yeah.
I was happy. But, all right. Somebody.
I moved to adjourn
I was like,
today.